All right, let's run through this because the messaging this week has been all over the place. First, Trump says Iran is basically close to a deal. How many weeks have we said this? I mean, the 3-day war has, like Ty said, turned into 4 months. The reported framework includes, once again, reopening the strait that was already opened before the war started, allowing Iran to continue to do what they were already doing, which is enriching uranium, and other negotiations with that. Then in the middle of all that, there's a shooting outside of the White House. And, people are rushed. The police are there. 30 shots are reportedly fired in the White House's vicinity. Secret Service says that an armed man opened fire near a checkpoint while Trump was inside, and agents then shot and killed the suspect who is pictured here. Secret Service agents say that he has been known to them. He's tried to bust through the barricade before, and this time, I guess he got a little too far and they shot and killed him. No other news on the suspect. I mean, not suspect, I guess. Dead suspect, convicted by the Secret Service. Then the criticism starts because some conservatives are asking if this Iran deal sounds too close to the kind of Iran diplomacy that Trump spent years attacking Obama for. Then Israeli Minister Ben-Gvir enters the picture. This is Benjamin Netanyahu's kind of strong-arm man who talks big. He talks very big. And he told basically the world that the war is not over until we say it's over.
השר בן-גביר, האם אתה חושב שהסכם רע לישראל, כמו שטראמפ עלול להביא מול איראן, יפגע בגוש הימין בבחירות הקרובות?
קודם כל יש דבר, מה שנקרא, שהוא הדבר האמיתי, זה חיי אדם. הסכם רע למדינת ישראל יכול לפגוע בחיי אדם. אני יודע שראש הממשלה נתניהו וכולנו, כחברי קבינט, גם קבינט מצומצם, גם קבינט רחב, גם כממשלת ישראל, לא ניתן לדבר הזה לקרות.
אבל זה
הסכם רע, זה הסכם שיכול לפגוע במדינת ישראל, ואנחנו לא ניתן לדבר הזה לקרות. זה לא יקרה. הסכם רע לא יהיה, לא יכול להיות, משום שבסופו של דבר, ההסכם רע, זה לא קשור לבחירות או לא בחירות.
For those that will be watching, listening on the podcast, and don't speak Hebrew, this man said that it's a bad deal for the state of Israel and we will not allow it. So it sounds like
that's a lot. That's what he said. That's a lot.
He said it multiple times over, but he did say that. Hi, Ty.
Why they didn't give us like the little bouncing ball underneath when he was talking? You know what I mean? Because
he said Israel will not allow a weak deal. So I guess we're still in the war, and and to that point, Secretary of State, U.S. Let me say that clearly, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has since said that talks are now ongoing. The deal is not finalized, and there's some language that is still unresolved. Of course, he was just told to say that. What do you guys think about all of this? Did Trump actually announce a victory lap before there was a victory? Because then you have to add in what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks about why this war is still going on. She thinks it might be going on for a very long time because she thinks it's all part of Trump's strategy to remain in office.
That's why elections had been canceled. And President Trump turned to him and he said, wait a minute. You mean if there's a war going on, you can't have elections? And he said it jokingly, but at the same time, knowing President Trump, I looked at that and I thought, I don't know if he's saying it joking, but I don't know if he's joking.
I mean, Marjorie, we knew. We told you this a long time ago when we told you not to vote for him because he wanted to stay in office the first time around. So, some of us have seen this plot coming a mile away. I wasn't surprised when she said it, but what do you guys think about all of this? Are things calming down? Are you excited that there seems to be some motion towards a resolution? Ty, are you still completely convinced that this war is going to go on for another 4 years? Or has things changed for you? What do you think?
I think, as Israel has stated, the war will be over when they say it's over.
So we will patiently await
their conclusion.
their conclusion, because that is what appears to be happening. I hope that the U.S. can stick to what we've talked about, which was our not wanting to be in a war. Trump basically assured us that we would not be in this type of war if he were in office. And so, honestly, as much as I don't believe anything that Donald Trump says, I do hope that they stick to their campaign promises and conclude this as quickly as possible, because it's not just a war, it's affecting actual lives. One thing that he did say was like, these are actual lives that we're talking about, but I think that our priority should be the lives of Americans that don't agree that we want to be in this conflict, and have made that very clear with the election of Donald Trump, to say that we do not want to be in this conflict. And so if the people are saying we are not interested in being in the conflict, then the leaders of the people need to make sure that we are removing ourselves from this conflict as quickly as possible. And so in all seriousness, no, I don't believe anything Donald Trump has to say. But what I do know is that there was a campaign promise and people voted for that. Like, that is what they said, oh, Kamala will surely get us into this. And there were a lot of people who voted because they believed that Kamala Harris would put us in the exact spot that Donald Trump has put us in. So I think it's important for the administration to understand that the American people do not want to be in this conflict.
And to that point, he promised that if he got elected, he would end the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours. That didn't happen. He promised that Iran will be figured out within a matter of minutes. That didn't happen. He tried to blow them. He said that he blew up all of their uranium to smithereens. What was that last year? Was that last year already?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. All the days are blending. He had a B-52 bomber basically unload nukes all over Iran to try to blow up their uranium enrichment so they can make a nuclear bomb, and that still didn't do anything. So it just seems like war might not be his thing, Dex. Are you concerned that this just might continue to go on because of Trump's stubbornness?
I don't necessarily think it's a stubborn thing. I think it's just generally like there's no end in sight. I'll say that, but I don't think it's because it's like, oh, I want to keep this going. I don't think he knows how to. I don't think he knows how to strategically get us out of this situation.
Well, he tried to, and then Israel said no.
Yeah, but like that's why when we're talking about, like he said, like, I don't want to be in a war. I don't plan for us to be a country in war. I'm going to get out of these wars. I think he was serious about that. So I think he's also in over his head with that stuff too, especially when it comes down the pipeline.
I think the problem is that the solution is the deal that was broken by Barack Obama that he does not agree with. So I think that he's like, okay, we need to get out of this, but we can't do that.
Yeah,
I think
the same thing with the healthcare issue. We can't go back to Obamacare, but we have to get out of Obamacare.
Right. So I think this is Donald Trump realizing, oh my God, that president knew what he was doing. So
and also even with him, because like even if you disagree with what Barack Obama did, you don't want any of his policies in place, you could still repel them and get rid of them, but you have to have a better plan in place, and he didn't have that. It's clear that he didn't have it, and he's in over his head a bit.
Yeah, that's true. If you're going to get rid of something, you need to have a better solution and a better plan. If you're going to get it, they keep calling it Obamacare. It's called the Affordable Health Care Act. They try their best to get rid of it, and look at healthcare now. It's 10 times worse than what it was.
Everything.
It's 10 times worse than it was. We're going to stop being dependent on foreign fuel. Look at it, damn near $5 a gallon.
Oh, can I tell y'all real quick? I put gas in my car the other day, and I paid attention to the price. It was $60, y'all. I almost fainted at the pump. I could not believe it.
Light work.
$60 is so much money.
That is $60.
Dex, you my brother. I love you to death, but I ain't trying to hear that, man. Try $84. I ain't trying.
Okay, but you 84. That means you probably paid like 50, 60 before. I used to pay like $20 and like get a full tank of gas. Like, what is happening?
Them days is long gone.